Hello, welcome back. It's time for another math lesson, and we are going to start right away with our number talk. And today's number talk is called Add 'em Up. So the problem that we're going to focus on is 8 plus 6. And what we're going to do is see if we can come up with a couple different ways to help us solve the problem 8 plus 6. Now, when I look at the problem 8 plus 6, I'm thinking to myself, is there a way if I have 8 plus 6, can I make a 10 out of these two numbers? Well, if I would take 2 away from that 6 and make it 4, and give those 2 to that 8 and make it 10, and add those together, I would get 14. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Another way that I could make a 10 from 8 plus 6 is if I look at that 8 and the 6, and I can make that 6 be a 10. Well, I could take 4 away from that 8 and make it 4, and then add those 4 to that 6 and make a 10. I could add those two numbers together and again get 14. So sometimes if I'm looking at a math problem that is causing me some troubles, one strategy that I could use is, can I make a 10 to help me solve the problem? And we're going to focus on that again tomorrow with our number talk. So for our math lesson today, we are going to work on telling time. Now, we did a few problems a couple lessons ago, and we're going to do a little bit more with telling time today. So I want you to get out your math journal and a pencil, and I want you to turn to page 7. There are 3 problems on page 7. I'm showing one problem at a time, but what I want you to do right now is look at the problems 1 through 3, and your task is to circle the analog clock that shows the digital time. So for example, for number 1, you need to decide which clock shows 1:30. So go ahead and do that, all 3. Okay, let's take a look at what you came up with. We've got clock A and we've got clock B. Looks like both of the hands, the hour hand and the minute hand, there's a hand pointing towards the 6 and there's a hand pointing near the 1. Well, what I know about clocks, remember, is that there are 2 hands that we're going to be talking about. One's going to be the hour hand and one is the minute hand. The hour hand is the short hand. The minute hand is the long hand. Now, if you remember from our previous lesson, I said the hour hand will let us know what hour it is. And the hour hand is going to be pointing near the hour. And you want to think about what 2 numbers the hour hand is between. This one is between 1 and 2. So whatever it's past, that's the hour. It's past 1. So this is 1 something. And then remember, we talked about tick marks. Every 5th tick mark is a little bit bigger, and it's right behind a number on the clock. I can count those tick marks by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Well, this clock shows 1:30. So you should have circled this clock. But let's go ahead and look at the clock over here. This is why it's kind of confusing, is because they both have the hands kind of in the same place, but they're the different hands. This hand is the hour hand. So this hand is between 6 and 7. It's closer to 6. So on this clock, it's 6 something. Here's our minute hand. There's that first tick line. It's pointing right at that tick line. So that clock says 6:05. Let's go to problem 2. Which clock shows 2:45? Well, look at both hour hands here and here. This is 2:45. So I need to find the clock that has the hour hand that is past the 2, not pointing at the 2, but past the 2. Well, if I would continue this line here, Well, this is between 1 and 2, but is it past the 2? No, it's not past the 2. So I'm just going to continue the line here with my hour hand. Well, this one is between the 2 and the 3, and it's past the 2. So this one is going to be 2 something. Here's the minute hand. It's pointing right at this tick line behind the 9. So remember, I can count by 5s for all of those larger tick lines. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. This clock D, shows 2:45. This clock here, this one is, our hand is past the 1, so it's 1 something, and it's at the 9, or that's at the tick line behind the 9. So if I count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. This clock shows 1:45. So you should have circled clock D. And for number 3, which clock shows 4:55? So I need to find the clock that has the hour hand that is past the 5. Or I'm sorry, past the 4. Well, if I look here, and I kind of extend it a little bit. Oh, this one's between the 4 and the 5. It's past the 4 because remember, our hour hand moves this direction, so it is past the 4. Let's try this one. Oh, wait a minute. This one is also past the 4. So they're both 4 something. So I need to focus on the minute hand. Here, the minute hand is pointing at this tick number. Remember, I can count by 5s at the tick numbers. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. This minute hand is at this tick line. Let's count those by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. This clock shows 4:55. This clock F, shows 4:50. Okay, moving on. I have a vocabulary word here that says precise. Precise means exact. When you are working on showing time on a clock, you need to be exact. We were just working on 5-minute increments like 9:45, 4:55, but we're going to continue with working on telling time to the exact minute. If we look at this clock here, what time is it on that clock? It is 4 o'clock. Now, if I look at the next clock, what time is it on this clock? Well, it's 4 something because that hour hand is past the 4. So I have to count my minutes, and I can, get back on the pen, Mrs. Fleury, count at those tick lines. 5, 10, 15. I just can't say that's 4:15 because this minute hand is pointing at this tick line. So I have to continue then counting on by 1s. So 5, 10, 15. The next tick line will be 16. So the time on this clock is 4:16. Here's another. What time is it on this first clock right here? It is 9 o'clock. Well, now the minute hand has moved. I need to know the precise time on the second clock. Well, here's my hour hand. They've kind of extended the line a little bit. And the hour hand is between 9 and 10, so it's still 9 something. Here's my minute hand. It's stopping at this tick line. So I can start at this tick line here, the first one, and go around my clock and count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, then count on by 1s. 31, 32. So the time on that second clock is 9:32. So when you are showing time by the minute, you need to be very precise, which means you need to be very exact. In your math journal, this is page 8. So page 8 in your math journal, you are going to write down the time shown on each clock, and you're going to show it to the nearest minute. So whatever minute tick line the minute hand is pointing to, that's the minute that you need to write down. You can do that now. You can stop the video and do it now, or you can wait until I'm finished with the lesson. It's up to you. I'm going to introduce a new concept to you right now, and it's called elapsed time. Elapsed time means how much time has gone by. So for example, if you got to school at 8 o'clock in the morning and you entered our classroom at 10 minutes after 8 at 8:10, well, how much time has gone by? Well, you got there at 8. You got into the classroom at 8:10, so that means 10 minutes has gone by. That's what we're going to work on for this problem here. So a tool that we're going to use is a number line. We used a number line earlier when we were working on rounding numbers, but you can use a number line lots of different ways in math. So let's take a look at the problem. Michael's class started math centers at 2:15 and ended them at 2:40. How can we figure out the exact amount of time that passed while his class did math centers? If you don't have your little clock out of your time kit or your tool kit, you can get that out now and then come back to the video when you're ready. And go ahead and show 2:15 on your clock. And I'm going to show you how we can use this timeline to help us figure out how much time it took for them to do their centers. So I'm starting at 2:15 and I want to end at 2:40. So what I'm going to do is I can just go by 5 minutes. I'm just going to make a jump, make a little hump here. And if I add 5 minutes to that time, that's going to be 2:20. And I could do another 5 minutes. And that's going to be 2:25. I could do another 5 minutes. That would be 2:30. Another 5 minutes. That's going to be 2:35. And another 5 minutes. This is going to be a big hump. Another 5 minutes. And that's going to take me to 2:40. So how much time has gone by? Count the minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So how long did they spend on their math centers? They spent 25 minutes. So a number line is a tool that you can use to help you figure out how much time has gone by. In your math journal, let me move this over. There we go. Page 9 are your math boxes. You can take some time now to complete your math boxes. If you did not take the time to do page 8, you can do that also. When you have those both finished, you can help mom and dad take a picture of it and send it to me in an email. That would be great. Thanks. Have a good night.